So this is new. This is something I do not think we have seen before. It's from the New York Times today. Quote, within a few days, Just the Pill, a nonprofit organization that arranges for women to obtain abortion pills, Just the Pill plans to deploy in Colorado the first of what will become a fleet of mobile clinics to park along state borders, providing consultations for medication abortions and dispensing pills. Called, quote, Abortion Delivered, the Clinic on Wheels program will also provide surgical abortions for patients who prefer that or who are too far along in pregnancy for a medication abortion. The program is designed to reach patients from states like Texas, Oklahoma, and South Dakota that quickly outlawed abortion after the court decision, as well as other states like Utah that are expected to ban or sharply restrict abortion soon. So that's one potential on-the-ground response to the Supreme Court decision overturning Roe v. Wade, overturning the right to legal abortion. Put abortion services on wheels and take them to the borders of states where abortion is outlawed. So American women can't get a legal abortion in state X, but if they take a few steps over the border from state X into state Y, then they can. Again, this was like this was a thought experiment kind of idea. This was a dystopian sci-fi concept in terms of how American women would still be able to retain the right to make decisions about the most intimate decisions in their lives. It's now apparently going into effect within days. Another way for women in states with abortion bans to access abortion may be for them to get abortion pills, which, again, you can use for many abortions within the first 10 weeks or so of pregnancy. You could get abortion pills prescribed by a provider overseas, a provider in another country, who is therefore beyond the reach of U.S. state laws designed to block that sort of thing. That is an approach pioneered by a doctor named Rebecca Gompertz. She's a Dutch doctor. She has spent decades figuring out innovative ways to get abortion services to women in countries where abortion is illegal. Her organization, Women on Waves, has, for example, provided abortions on ships floating in international waters. She then created Women on Web to mail abortion pills to patients all around the globe. In 2018, she saw into the future and decided that the United States was joining the ranks of countries needing her group's services. She then launched a group called Aid Access. It's specifically to provide medication abortions to patients in the United States in states that had banned telemedicine abortions. Physicians overseas do the video consultations with women in the U.S., and then the pills are often mailed from overseas as well. We have entered a new era in America now, one in which an overseas organization like Aid Access will not just be the only way to get a telemedicine abortion in many states. It may be the only way, period, to get an abortion in about half the states in the union. The work that Dr. Gompertz has been doing globally, figuring out how to get women abortion services when their countries have made it illegal, that's now work that's going to need to be done across borders inside the United States as well, figuring out how to get abortion services to women in states where it is illegal. The time has come. What do Americans now need to learn? What can Americans learn from somebody who has been doing this pioneering work for decades? Joining us now is Dr. Rebecca Gompertz. She is the founder of Women on Waves and Aid Access. Dr. Gompertz, I really appreciate you joining us, especially given how late it is where you are. It's really kind of you to be here.
Thank you so much, Rachel, for inviting me. I'm very happy to be on your show.
Let me ask you first about the Roe v. Wade decision by the United States Supreme Court. I think it could not be described as a surprise in this country, even though I think it was still a shock. I know enough about your work to know that you probably saw it coming better than maybe some of us here did. And you were also taking steps even ahead of that ruling to try to mitigate some of the severe restrictions that states had already put on abortion access, even with the Roe law still in place.
Well, we started getting a lot of requests from women from the United States already for a few years with Women on Web. And the reasons that women were looking for access was because they could often not afford the abortion services locally. But also privacy reasons. For example, people that were living in domestic violence or they couldn't travel because the distances to travel were already quite long. So there was already there were already women that were not able to access abortions in the US before the ruling. And it's just really unfortunate that Trump has been able to appoint 3 court judges to the Supreme Court, and now that Roe versus Wade has been overturned. And of course, here in Europe, we really look with trembling to see how also many of the other human rights that have been recognized for long in the United States might now be disappear, basically.
You have pioneered, from an international perspective, this tactic, essentially, of getting women access to medication abortion, getting them the pills, in ways that essentially work around restrictions at the local or national level that are designed to prevent that. What should Americans now understand about whether or not medication abortion can offer American women a way to retain this right once states try to make it go away? We have already seen some Republican-controlled states say they will essentially try to block women from getting abortion medications, from getting pills, any way they can, trying to block them from being sent through the mail, trying to block women from even leaving to go to other states to get them. What do you see about the sort of height of that legal barrier when it comes to medication abortion specifically?
Well, what we see in other countries where abortion is illegal is that there's no way that those pills can be stopped. There will be women's organizations, other people that will bring in the medicines and make sure that women will have it and be able to use it when they need it. But I think what is going to be, it will make it much harder for many, and especially the more vulnerable women. For them, it might be really not possible to get pills. What we see is that it won't stop people from having abortions. And these are actually also emails that we already received with Aid Access, where people were writing about how they were trying to induce their abortions by, for example, using herbs or jumping off stairs or using knitting needles. So there will be women that will not be able to access the pills and will also try to harm themselves to end pregnancies. And then, of course, the women that are later in pregnancies, the pills can still be used. It's still safe to use them also after 12 weeks. The World Health Organization is supporting home use till 12 weeks. But afterwards, the research now shows that it's also safe to do. But people have to be close to emergency care. And one of the concerns that we have is that we've seen that sometimes doctors that work in emergency wards, they don't want to help people when they present with a miscarriage or an abortion because they're scared that would make them that they could be prosecuted under strict abortion laws. So, for example, in Ireland, a woman died because this happened, and in Poland as well. And I think one of the things is very important to teach the doctors that they can help women when they have when their lives are in danger and that they need medical care.
That's terrifying, not only because we've seen it happen, as you just described, but the prospect that healthcare providers will see a woman in extremis who has naturally miscarried or who has taken medication abortion. For some reason, she has a complication that could hurt her and could kill her, and they'll stand by because they're afraid themselves of being prosecuted. Are there any sort of lessons learned that you can convey to us as a country where abortion is newly illegal in terms of just the most effective organizing, the most potent work that people who support abortion rights can do to try to save women's lives?
I think at this moment, what people in the US can do is that they make sure that they have the abortion pills at home for when they need it or when a friend needs it. So everybody should just get the abortion pills as much as they can so that it's everywhere. And that makes it more easier also for women when they need it to get it.
Dr. Rebecca Gompertz, thank you so much for your time and your insight tonight. I think we're sailing into what are uncharted waters for us. You know them much better than we do. Thanks for being here with us tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. We've got more news ahead tonight. Stay with us.